Initially I was like, you know what? Nah, I just dropped the post-game thoughts tomorrow morning. But after that game against the Steelers, I said, no. We dropping it tonight. I don't care. Team, keep it clean. I'm here to share my post-game thoughts from that game that we all watched together with the Baltimore Ravens. They took care of business in a major way against the Pittsburgh Steelers in that game that helped out the Ravens in more ways than one. We getting ready to talk about it all of it. I love y'all, team. Keep it clean. I appreciate y'all, team. Keep it clean. Let's get into it. Before we do, though, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn them notifications on so you don't miss a single video. We are 489 subscribers away from 80,000 subscribers, so we getting there slowly but surely. And make sure you also leave a like on the video because it helps out the channel a ton. Something that helped out the channel a ton was just the vibes tonight, man, because going into this game, I was super excited for this one. I really was. I was looking forward to this game for a while. I was anticipating this game big time, especially after the win against the New York Giants, simply because last time we played the Pittsburgh Steelers, it felt like that was a game where the Baltimore Ravens, yeah, they had the self-inflicted wounds, but the Steelers took advantage of those self-inflicted wounds, and they handled business. Because I know a lot of people say, oh, man, we beat ourselves. Well, you got to give the other team credit as well. The Steelers beat us as well. But this time, the Baltimore Ravens were like, look, we're going to have some self-inflicted wounds. We're going to do some stuff early on that we probably shouldn't have done, even later on that we probably shouldn't have done. But we are going to still fix it. We are still going to overcome it. We're going to get the job done. Somebody in the comment section of our live stream, they made a really good point. They said the Ravens won this game against the Steelers, who are a good team, by the way. But the Ravens won this game by 17 points, and they didn't even play their best football. That's something that's scary to think about. They won this game against the Steelers, who are a good team. They won this game by 17 points, and they didn't even play their best football. Let's start with the Baltimore Ravens on offense. So, started off, the Ravens offense, they were moving the ball. Derrick Henry was doing his thing. Lamar was doing his thing a little bit. But then on, I believe it was a second down, Highsmith was going against Ronnie Stanley. Ronnie Stanley said, I got this. Highsmith said, I got this. And it was Highsmith who ended up getting it because he beat Ronnie Stanley from jump, and he had Ronnie Stanley chasing him. He said, hold up. Wait a minute. Don't get to my quarterback. And Alex Highsmith said, boop. Knocked that ball right out of Lamar's hand. That is an official strip sack. So he forced the fumble, got the sack, but thank goodness Ronnie Stanley ended up recovering it. That was a beautiful thing. So thank you you made an error on the play, but you also saved it as well. Then it ended up being like 30-19. Ravens didn't convert, so they had to punt the ball. All right, Tyler Wallace said, oh, y'all wanted to bench me as the punt returner? Well, I'm going to still contribute on special teams in a positive way. I ain't going to take it to heart. I get it. It's a business. I get it. I wasn't that explosive, but trust me, y'all going to come back to me soon enough, and we're going to talk about that later too. But anyway, Tyler Wallace, he downed the ball, I think like at the 1 or 2 yard line. So that set the Ravens up nice. So what happened? Ravens end up getting a stop. So they got the ball back. And what do? They moved that ball down the field. And then Lamar Jackson threw his first touchdown pass, first of 3, by the way, his first touchdown pass to Isaiah Likely. And it was beautiful. It was just a beautiful thing to see. Before we talk about Lamar Jackson, let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens and the fact that they did not forget, they did not neglect, and they did not keep Derrick Henry out of the game because Derrick Henry was going off early and often. And a lot of times when that happens with the Baltimore Ravens, and context is important, but there will be times, even minus the 2-minute warnings, even minus the 2-minute drills, because you cannot count those. I hate when people count those as, oh, Derrick Henry should be in the game. Why are they taking Derrick Henry out of the game? Well, that's because they're in a 2-minute offense, so they don't have him out there for that. Even though they could incorporate him in that. But anyway, a lot of times the Ravens will take Derrick Henry out the game when he's working. He's going hard too, man. And in this game, yeah, he was doing his thing. But the Ravens did not forget about him all game long. There were times when Derrick Henry would break a big run. There were times when Derrick Henry would get stuffed. But regardless, the Ravens were like, no. We're going to keep feeding him because we see it. We see it. And Derrick Henry saw it too. Derrick Henry had 24 carries for 162 yards. That's a lot. 162 yards. That's a crazy amount of yards for Derrick Henry. And it was a beautiful thing to watch. It's a beautiful thing to see him running all over the Pittsburgh Steelers because we are not used to watching our Baltimore Ravens run all over the Steelers like this. It was crazy to watch. Sticking with the running game, Justice Hill. Oh, man, feel bad for him because he had broke off that 25-yard run. but then he got concussed. He took a hit. It was a clean hit. It wasn't a dirty hit at all, but he just landed on the back of his head, and he was just out, and it was very, very scary. But glad that he was able to get up, but they ruled him out like right away with a concussion. I mean, we figured that too. So I would not anticipate him playing in this game against the Texans on Wednesday. I would anticipate it being Derrick Henry, Keaton Mitchell, and Rasheen Ali. We'll see. We won't know officially till we know, but I don't think he's going to play in this game at all. With Derrick Henry, that just reminded me, speaking of the running backs, that reminded me of there was a drive where the Ravens, they had the ball on 3rd and 1. Derrick Henry had just got like an 8-9 yard gain. So it's 3rd and 1. So I'm like, okay, Ravens just going to run it, get that first down, keep it moving. And they did run it. They had Derrick Henry lined up, single back. Lamar was under center. Derrick Henry was behind him. Pat Ricard, they wasn't I formation. There was no fullback or anything. So they just handed it off to Derrick Henry. It looked like they rushed it a little bit, but they handed it off to Derrick Henry. He got stuffed. And I was like, oof. I just thought that in that situation, it wasn't a bad decision to run with Derrick Henry. That was a great decision, but I just thought they might have lined him up. It would have been better if they would have just lined him up with a fullback, lined him up with Pat Ricard, and just ran it straight up and got it. But it's okay because it didn't end up biting them in the butt at all. In the running game with Lamar Jackson, he had 9 carries for 22 yards, so nothing crazy. He wasn't running around like crazy on the Steelers or anything like that. Very modest game from him on the ground, so nothing crazy. But let's stick with Lamar Jackson because in the air, through the air, Lamar, there was some drops, there was some misses, but that happens. That's life as a quarterback. A quarterback ain't going to hit every single throw. His receivers ain't going to catch every single pass, and that's life. That's why you live to play another down. So in this game, he went 15 for 23, 207 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. We talked about the first touchdown to Isaiah Likely, which was nice, but then the next touchdown to Rashad Bateman in the back of the end zone. That boy Bate. Who would have thought? I was just talking to my guy about this yesterday. Who would have thought that there would be a time when us as Ravens fans were stressing if Rashad Bateman was going to play in a game or not? What a crazy turnaround, right? Crazy turnaround for his career, man. And that's amazing to say. I'm happy for Rashad Bateman and glad that he's doing his thing, man. It's like Zay Flowers, he get all the yards. Rashad Bateman, he get all the touchdowns. And that's the 1A, 1B with all the wide receivers. But they've been doing their thing, certainly. We're proud of both of them, man. It's great to see. And the other touchdown came to none other than Mark Andrews. Who else? Like Mark Andrews, like he started off this year so slow. Started off this year quiet. But the turnaround has been crazy. It has been insane, and we love it for him. Now, it wasn't all pretty in the passing game because there was an interception that came when it was looking like the Ravens were getting ready to put the Steelers away. Derrick Henry had just got like a 45-yard run. They were in Steelers territory. It's like, all right, here we go. Now, I knew on that play that they were not going to run it with Derrick Henry again. He was gassed, man. He was tired. I just figured they were going to do a fake, and they did a fake. But Lamar, he was looking, and Rashad Bateman was coming across the field, and didn't look like Lamar. He threw to where he anticipated Rashad Bateman to be, but Rashad Bateman had stopped. He stopped. But the throw was already gone. It was already off. And Minkah Fitzpatrick said, oh, a donation? I'll take that. Thanks, Lamar. Interception. And thank goodness they tackled him because had that been a pick six, it's a different ball game. But the Ravens, their offense, they had to turn into defense real quick, but they made a tackle on Minkah Fitzpatrick, and that ended up stopping him. And guess what? The very next Steelers drive, Marlon Humphrey catches a pick six on Russell Wilson. And a pick six. When the last time we got a pick six? Was it against the Browns? The Deshaun Watson, the Kyle Hamilton, where he tipped it up to himself and took it back for a pick six? If that was it, and it's been a long time, my friends. But that might actually be it. But it was a beautiful thing to see Marlon Humphrey just continue to do well. He's been playing really, really good football this year, and he got like 1 million picks. Like, it seems like this year alone, he got as many picks as he probably done got his whole career all put together. So now I might be wrong on that, but that's what it seems like. But it was a nice thing to see. Now, who are those passing yards to that Lamar threw to? So Zay Flowers went 5 catches for 100 yards. And Zay Flowers, I think his biggest catch was when the Ravens, they were up, but their backs were against the wall, and they needed a first down. And Lamar, he's just sent Zay on just a go route, and Zay beat his man, had him beat. Lamar threw it to him perfectly. It's a perfect pass. And speaking of Zay Flowers, you can hit up Heart of the City and get your Zay Flowers Human Joystick hoodie and use code Ingraven30 for 30% off your hoodie. The link will be in the description. Y'all check them out. I know a lot of y'all done got them before and told me how much y'all love them. So check them out and go get yours. Shout out to our guy, 1K Zay. He got his 1,000 yards. Zay Flowers got his 1,000 yards. So we happy about him, man. He's been great. Mark Andrews, he had 4 catches for 37 yards and, of course, that touchdown. And he was coming out with some big catches, man. He ain't have many catches, but he came up with clutch catches. Isaiah Likely had 3 for 29, of course, his touchdown. And then Derrick Henry, he had 2 for 27. I love when they include him on screenplays, and they did just that. And they had him in on a screenplay, and T.J. Watt had just missed him. Cam Hayward had just missed tipping the ball. Derrick Henry caught it, ran, got a nice chunky yard. So that was a beautiful thing to see. And Rashad Bateman, his only catch was that touchdown catch. So he said, hey, I ain't going to get much, but I'm going to make it count. So that was nice by the offense. 34 points. Well, the offense put up 27 because remember Marlon Humphrey, he responsible for 7 of them points. So it's nice to get points in all kind of ways. Special teams, Justin Tucker. I remember somebody asked last week, is Justin Tucker back after he made those 5-point after touchdowns? And I said, not yet, but it's baby steps because they had the bye week, so he was off, even though he said he stayed at the Owens Mills and whatnot, the practice facility, and he's been kicking ever since. They had a practice in the rain, but they moved it indoors, and Justin Tucker said, no, I'm not going in there with them. I'm going to stay kicking these field goals outside here in the rain. So that happened, and then we had the Giants game. So he kicked 5-point after touchdowns, and some people were like, is he back? And I was like, that's point after touchdowns. They ain't field goals. That's a type of field goal, but 3 points is different than 1. So let's see. But it is a start, and it was a start. But in this game, he kicked some point after touchdowns. Like, all right, that was cool. But what about field goals? He did make a field goal late in the game. I think it was maybe from 30 yards, maybe less than that, but it was a real close one. But earlier in the game, he made a 51-yarder. I said, let's go, JT. Is he back all the way? Let's see. I'm going to still get nervous whenever he goes out there, but that was nice to see, especially because it was windy out there. I remember Jess Rebick said before the game, he said, I don't know how the kicking game is going to be because it's real windy here at M&T Bank. But Justin Tucker, he did his thing. Jordan Stout, he was doing a lot of the kickoffs. Now, I guess with Jordan Stout, we can't expect touchbacks. And maybe they just really trying to save Justin Tucker's leg. Maybe they just really trying to preserve Justin Tucker's leg for strictly field goals, and that's it. Maybe that's what it is. That's what it seems like. Because John Harbaugh did say last week, we think Jordan Stout's going to be our place kicker going forward. No, okay, cool. And he was. Now, sticking with special teams, but on the flip side in the return game. Desmond King, you brought us some exciting returns over the past couple of weeks, but you, my friend, are officially done. That's a wrap for Desmond King. He will no longer be Baltimore Ravens punt returner anymore. It's either going to go to Tylan Wallace or somebody else, probably Tylan Wallace. But Desmond King, he's done. Because while he did bring us more explosiveness than Tylan Wallace, the fumbles, man. He fumbled last week. He fumbled, I believe, twice this week. That, you can't do that. And Harbaugh's not going to go for it. He's on a practice squad, too. So he's almost in danger of getting cut, but he ain't going to be the Ravens punt returner anymore. If he takes another punt return this season for the Baltimore, I will be very, very, very shocked. I don't see that happening at all. Let's get to the defense. The defense in this game started off a bit shaky. Russell Wilson ended up getting to like the 1 or 2 yard line. Then Russell Wilson did a play action and they threw the touchdown to Mycole Pruitt in the back of the end zone at tight end. And then there was another drive where Russell Wilson, he had got a big chunk of yards on the ground. It was a play action pass. Well, it was a play action. He didn't pass the ball, but it was a play action. And then Malik Harrison was running with his guy up the sideline, but so he didn't even see Russell Wilson take off. And Russell Wilson took off. And now Darius Washington said, hold up. Let me bust this busted play. Hit Russell Wilson, force the fumble, Ravens recover, let's go. It was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. And then that led to a Ravens touchdown, man. So and I know a lot of Ravens fans are like, oh, man, that's still a bad defensive play because they gave up so many yards to Russell Wilson on the ground. He was wide open. And yes, that's true. But Darius Washington saved the day. Playmakers making plays. It was a beautiful thing to see. Beautiful thing to watch. The Steelers went for it later on a 4th down. Russell Wilson threw it deep to Calvin Austin. And super duper Kyle, he tried to pick it off, but he dropped it. But it was a good drop because if he would have caught it, that would have put us in worse field position than if he would have picked it off, that would have put us in worse field position than him dropping it. So it was a very, very good thing that he dropped that interception. But it was a great play by Kyle Hamilton on Calvin Austin. Calvin Austin, that boy can play. Like Steelers receiver, Steelers receiver is always good for. Like Van Jefferson, he could play. Calvin Austin, George Pickens, obviously. The number 15 for the Steelers too. He's nice and he's fast. That boy can move. But he left the game. I don't think he ever came back. I don't remember seeing him ever again. But Calvin Austin, there was one drive where he got Nate Wiggins, caught him on a deep ball. Then on that same drive, he caught Brandon Stevens on the slant. I said, man, this dude Calvin Austin just beating all our corners right now. And I think that's the drive where Russell Wilson threw his second touchdown pass, which was a pass to Cordero Patterson, somebody who I really wanted the Baltimore Ravens to sign this offseason. I was disappointed when the Steelers got him, but it's okay. He missed out on the Super Bowl, but it's all good. But Cordero Patterson, a lot of people complaining, oh, man, what is going on? What's up with Ravens defense? But it was a good play call by Ravens defense, by Zach Orr against the Steelers offense. But Malik Harrison played it as perfect as you possibly can. He even put his hand up at the right time when Russell Wilson threw the ball up to Cordero Patterson. Cordero Patterson just made an amazing play. It was a great throw and an amazing play by Cordero Patterson to catch it. And he almost, in fact, ain't catch it. It was sort of bobbling around, but it stayed on top of him and he ended up securing it. So it ended up being a touchdown catch. But it was just one of those plays where the offense just won. And it was the playmaker. It was the actual offensive player. The play call on both sides was a good play call, obviously, but Cordero Patterson, he made that play. Him and Russell Wilson, they made that play. But after that, Ravens said, all right, that's enough. I think you guys have made it to the end zone twice too many times. And that was it. There were some times where they sacked Russell Wilson. Shout out to Super Duper Kyle Vanoy, Super Duper Kyle 2.0. He had, I think he had 1.5 sacks, but now he's up to 10, I believe. Let me look at it exactly. Yeah, he had 1.5 sacks. Nnamdi Madubuike had a half sack. Michael Pierce, he got that sack early on. But yeah, they were chasing Russell Wilson around. They did. Sometimes Russell Wilson just made a play, got a completion. Sometimes Russell Wilson threw it and he threw it out of bounds. But Ravens pass rush, they weren't great this game, but they were pretty good overall. We just wish that they would close a bit more. But hey, that's the name of the game, especially going against a quarterback like Russell Wilson. Ravens defense again for what is this, like the 5th straight game, something like that. Because they did enough in the first Steelers game. They did enough in the Chargers game. They did enough in the Eagles game. They did enough in the Giants game. They did enough in the second Steelers game. Yeah, their 5th straight game where the defense has been amazing, and they played well enough for the Baltimore Ravens to win. We just wish the Ravens would have won all those games, but it's okay because they won, 3 out of 5? Yeah, Chargers, Giants, and Steelers. Yeah, and they lost to the Steelers and Eagles. So, yeah, they won 3 out of 5, so 60%. Not bad, could be better, but certainly could be worse. But that defense has been playing much better. And even in this game, they started off a little bit shaky. They had some shaky moments, but they got it together. And they stopped the Steelers from moving that ball. They stopped the Steelers from scoring. And that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. This was a terrible defense the first 10 weeks of the season. Terrible. They were abysmal. They were so bad. All kinds of bad. But they have certainly turned it around ever since they benched Marcus Williams and Eddie Jackson. It's made the world of a difference. And the Ravens have been making adjustments. Ravens have been doing so much better as a defense. It's a beautiful thing to watch. This Baltimore Ravens team, after this win against the Pittsburgh Steelers, they are officially in the playoffs. Officially. No matter what happens next week, no matter what happens the week after, Ravens are in the playoffs. And then on top of that, not only are the Ravens in the playoffs, but now they're tied atop the division for the AFC North. So for the Ravens to get the AFC North, they just got to have a better record than the Steelers after these next 2 games. That's it. They got to have a better record than the Steelers. If the Steelers and Ravens finish with the same record, Steelers get the division. But if the Ravens have a better record since they beat the Steelers now, then Ravens get the division. I'm pretty sure that's how it is. I'm like 99% sure. If I'm wrong, somebody please correct me, but I believe that's exactly how it is. So Ravens still got a lot to play for. Steelers still got a lot to play for. The AFC North race is not over. So it should be a fun one. Team, keep it clean. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank y'all for everything that y'all do. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn the notifications on. Leave a like on the video because it helps out the channel a ton. I appreciate y'all watching our post-game thoughts, and we out.